back. So next lesson, we're going to try and convert our UI into looking something like this on the message page. But before we do that, I need to have a small talk with you about versions. I've actually experienced a couple of students now coming to me and saying, our code doesn't work like your code. The layout is not like your layout. And the problem is actually right now at the current time, Bootstrap is actually moving from version 4 into version 5. So a new major release. And that version 5 has a lot of changes in the way they write the code. And it's not backward compatible. So you will see changes if you use version 5 compared to version 4. But how do you check what version you're using? That's kind of what I want to talk about in this lesson, because this can be used for any version you're working with out there, any NPM library. You can go and check out on the versions you're using, right? First of all, let's talk about the version I'm using right now for the Angular part, the NG Bootstrap. Notice right here, the newest version available right now is version 9.02. And when I made these videos, I actually installed that version. So let's try and go into our code. We are inside the front end. Let's go down to the package.json file. And here you can see on line 23-ish, I have a version of NG Bootstrap that is version 9.02. Now this small arrow up is actually meaning that it's going to update automatically any lower release that comes out. So it's not going to go from version 9 to 10, but it might change to 9.1 if that pops up, and 9.2. So it'll do minor version changes, but not major version changes automatically. Sweet. But look at this. Right now I'm using version 4.5 on the Bootstrap part, but I've seen students that end up having 5.0 beta. Let me try and show you that part. Right now Bootstrap is actually working on 5.0. So again, notice if I go back here, we can see the latest build version that's actually out there. And let's try and go to GitHub. The latest build version is actually version 4.6.0. Let's try just to update to that version just for the fun of it and show you how you can change this. So I'm going to change right here into 4.6.0 like this, a new release. So let's update that version again, npm install. So now it updated it to 4.6.0. And if we go into our code right here and see if something changed, you'll notice that this still looks fine. And let's actually go and put up the nickname of John again and see if the other part didn't change. This also looks fine. So even though I made a release change to one minor version up, it still seems to be running. Now, if you want to see what versions are available, you could try to go to, at least Bootstrap does this for us. So I go to Bootstrap and I can look at this drop down right here on the code. And here I can go to tags, and they actually tag all their different versions. Now here's what I saw some people facing. By some mistake, when it updated, it actually went and got the newest version of Bootstrap that's available, and that's actually a beta version of either beta 1 or beta 2. Now this will not succeed, so let's try and go into this one. And the beta 2 version has a lot of changes compared to the version we're using right now. So let's try and add that one and install it in our code base. So I'll say instead of this, I'll go and use the 5.0.0. And then notice right here, it helps me. There's a beta version. Let's try and install this one and see if that makes changes. I'll do an npm install again. And again, I just want you guys to kind of see this because you can do this for any package you're using. You could also update your ngx socket.io package if something new came out, your rxjs, etc., etc. You can always make these updates as you want to. Sweet. After the npm install, let's try and see if there's any changes in our UI. And notice, the layout just broke, right? Now, you just have to update the layout to use the 5.0 principles if you want to try this. But again, right now, it's actually still in beta. So I wouldn't go and do that. I would wait until they get a stable bundle. At least if this is something you want to use for production code, just stay on the 4.0. But if you want to start using this, go and check out how do we work with layouts. I actually think they made some easier features compared to the 4.0. So again, I won't disencourage anybody. Try and do it if you want to. Update to 5, but just be aware when you do that update, your code will look weird again, and you will have to kind of go and change everything to make it work. I might go and do this just for the fun of it, but not right now. So notice again, this part looks the same, so there's nothing in here that's wrong, except that again, this guy didn't take up the full width, so there's still some issues here and there. But that's it. That's how you can control versions, and if you kind of see some different code than mine, or some different view than I have, because if you follow my guide, it should look exactly the same. It might be that version, so go and check it out and see if you can you have a beta version in here, and just go and change it back to 4.6.0 or something like that, and then go and do an npm update, or npm install, and then you're actually up and running with the new version again. And the same up here, you can check out if you're using my version here as well to kind of make this work. Now, if you're using new versions, later on, you might have to go and update the code base. And that's why we go and make these videos all the time to keep them up to date, because everything changes so much when we're talking about front-end development. That's it for this lesson. See you next time. Have fun.